Considering the current change in demographic profile of Malaysia, with increasing aging population and rapid increase in costs of living, homelessness could happen to anyone.
You know, when I was young, I was rebellious. Many a time when I was, angry, so I used to threaten, well, I'm going to walk out, I'm going to sleep in the streets. Somehow I was safe, I never actually did it. But what drives people to actually do that, it must be desperation. It must be something, you just kecewa or something like that. And then you just go out there, or it could be a moment of anger, and then you go out there, and then how do you turn back? Maybe sometimes it's not a big threat, and you can go back home. But sometimes you carry it too far, and then pride prevents you from going home. And then to those people who end up being, drug users, it's the habit that keeps you from going home. And it is not easy, but sometimes you lose yourself in that situation. That's what happens to many of them. The general public, no. The general public is angry. They're angry at people like us for going out soup kitchens or go out to feed. They say, why do you spoil them? That adage, teach a man to fish, that sort of thing, Why are you feeding them? You're giving them, you're making life easy for them. What they don't understand is the challenges these people face. There's just, okay, some of them are naughty, that I admit. Some of them are lazy, that I admit. But there are those who've got emotional problems, they have, psychiatric problems. They've just gotten into a trap they can't get out of. There's so many different categories. Each person, even us in this room, we have so many different challenges in our lives. How can we just paint with one brush and say, well, yeah, you're just all like that? You can't categorize people like that, yeah? Some have got, emotional problems, psychiatric problems. Others are just having attitude problems, maybe. Some is just, anger management, where they should, learn, maybe, so they're uncontrolled tempers. And some is just they're young. They have all this rebellious attitude, like me, when I was young, saying, oh, you won't listen to me, I'll probably walk out and just not come home, what if I had actually carried the threat too far? When we go, I have not disappointed them. I go out 4 times a week, except when I'm unwell or something like that. But the service goes on 4 nights a week without fail. And that is just to make sure that we don't disappoint you. We say we're coming, we'll come.
Azizu Rajati managed to raise quite a lot of money, yeah?
Yeah.
It's nice.
So I said to big ones also, big names.
Ah, okay. So they generously contributed.
They said, we know her, we'll be in touch with her. So that's good. They're all the heads of banks and all those things.
Okay.
So I say hopefully let them all contribute. Well, most of these people don't like to give to causes in Malaysia. But the minute they hear it's something international, they like.
Why, yeah?
I have no idea why. But
charity begins at home.
No, but with the orang kaya, they would rather take a flight and go somewhere.
Rwanda, Kenya.
So I don't know. Just go to Cambodia, Indonesia, Medan. They'd rather do that. You said give something here. No.
It's like among the Indian Muslim community also.
It's the same,
a lot of go India. But sometimes I say about, there are a lot of poor people here as well. There are a lot of people in need here as well. But they say people are more needy there and stuff. That this is a relatively rich country. Well, it's their money is really up to them where they want to plant things.
So you feed the cat as well?
Yeah, we feed the cat. It gives me some form of happiness, so I do it. There are people who fall through the cracks of society, so we ought to help them. That's why I'm out here helping them. So I've been doing this for 3 years now.
Well, some of them have been out there for more than 30 years. As I said, one day somebody will broke off engagement or whatever and then threatened to the girlfriend, I'm going to leave, and then go out in the street and just sleep in the street, and suddenly he wakes up and then it's 30 years already.
Okay, why don't you organize?
Do you want everything in that car down?
Kejap dulu. Kita organize what needs to be done.
There are those who have got all these wounds, and then you see with the diabetics, the wounds which will not heal, and then sooner or later, they'll end up having to amputate. Yeah.
Macam mana nak kemas? How do you do?
What they want to dispose, what they want to keep.
Jadi kita mula kalau macam-macam tu takkan dah nak simpan. Oh, tak masuk angin.
Kotak-kotak tu simpan.
Okey, yang
kalau barang tidur dia simpan. The rest kita buang.
Okey lah.
Instead of looking at problems of housing policies or employment structure, the functional theory of homelessness looks at it from the perspective of behavior. The inclination of the homeless to isolate themselves is seen as a symptom of a dysfunctional, abnormal, or even deviant behavior due to stress, criticism, and violence in the family. Subcultures are the product of a group of individuals who form an alternative set of norms and values to that of mainstream society. Deviance is perceived as a negative reaction to a society that excluded some members, with subcultures offering these people a sense of inclusion. Homeless culture, then, would be the product of marginalized people within society coming together in reaction against the mainstream to form an alternative parallel culture.
Dulu kat sini kan, banjir. Tentang banjir, nak turun naik kan.
Individuals interpret themselves and their everyday environment in terms of their actions, reactions, and interactions with everything around them. We can observe the way homeless people construct, deconstruct, and reconstruct themselves, their worlds, and their own reality. The homeless in the city are displaced and marginalized group. Inability to access to housing can cause people to become houseless and the possibility of becoming homeless and remain on the streets.
See, actually, the whole place is actually cement. Yeah, but over the years, I think all this gravel, these stones all came in and it's hardened. Actually, this is a flat cement place, yeah. So it's still kind of need cleaning, you know. Yeah, they're homeless. Yeah, we feed that lady, we know her. They stay here. But they need a shelter lah.
Karena tempat ni biasalah kalau malam memang nyamuk banyak. Kalau bagi saya yang menggembirakan di sini kalau bila sungai ini air banjir, ular sawah semua keluar. Jadi saya sudah seringkali tangkap ular sawah. Mungkin yang paling besar pun macam ni. Besar. Kurang lebih dah 20 lebih ekor saya tangkap sini.
We're helping our people here, and it's my first time, kind of my first time here. Yes, very shocked. Through WhatsApp, my mom was showing it to me about the page and about this place, so I just came here to help out.
It is surprising and it's sad, but we've got no choice, I guess. We don't provide anything for them, so. I've been with Pertiwi Soup Kitchen for 2 years plus, so I know from Auntie Munira. I'm just bored on a Sunday. Have nothing to do, no boyfriend, so.
Salam kali.
Oh Allah.
Pasal nanti dia dah campur tak? Besar kan? Reebok punya. Boleh lah. Mana? Lagi sebelah. Mas ya? Okey.
Ini sedia lah.
Boleh?
Boleh.
Cukup tu? Ini? Ini tanah? Ini untuk jalan-jalan?
Tak boleh.
Semua ada? Ini tak boleh?
Ini sajalah.
Ya, cukup ha? Oh, macam mana dapat kasut-kasut ni? Macam mana ni? Kita orang punya kompor dekat rumah. Dah tak pakai lagi pada simpan. Mana lagi nak pakai? Ini boleh? Muat tak?
Kongsi lah, kami kongsi. Aunty ni yang bagi semua sekali ni.
Siapa? Sumbangan siapa dekat?
Handling the homeless is a complex issue and normally requires support from not only various public bodies and NGOs, but friends and families. Family and cohabiting relationships is strongly associated with feelings of home. Relationship breakdown represents far more than the loss of a partner. It also represents the loss of stability, altered identity, ontological insecurity, as well as the loss of home or the feeling of home. A study by Associate Professor Dr. Sharifah Mariam, Muhammad Al-Habshi and Alifatul Kamila finds that, considering the current change in demographic profile of Malaysia, with an increasing aging population and a rapid increase in cost of living, homelessness could happen to anyone. The study predicts that global economic uncertainty will increase houseless and homelessness community, perhaps even introduce a new type of homelessness. The new generation of homeless people are no longer seen as being almost exclusively male, alcohol-dependent and transients. Rather are families, women, children, youth, the elderly, and marginalized ethnic or migrant groups. This new homelessness will call for new responses in the types and levels of service provision. Pertiwi Soup Kitchen feeds up to 700 people per night, 4 times a week. Volunteer medics also provide checkups and medicine. Each night, different stories unfold. It could be tragic, but it may also be magical. It is a journey from hopelessness to hope.
Lama dah. Dah 3 tahun. Dia takut tengok doktor. Tuan dah longkang. Patut longkang patut. Ada luka lah. Jatuh lah doktor. Saya kena langgar motor. Motor langgar saya.
Pagi-pagi bila bangun susah nak jalan. Angin tak? Gastrik?
Ada kadang-kadang bangun tidur tapi belum.
Ada kuat sendawa untuk kurangkan sakit. Habiskan papan ni.
Tidur dok ni.
Ha?
Tu hari saya sakit, tu hari saya makan tidur.
Mengantuk?
Tak boleh bangun, mengantuk. Saya nak minta minyak angin lah, doktor.
Ya,
saya minta minyak angin lah.
Sekejap. Bagi awak. Ni pegang.
Minyak angin lah.
So then patients begin to get regular chiropractic care, plus medical care, holistic care, more counseling. And then around about August or so, I see this lovely, beautiful lady working at the last stop. So that's where she caught my eye. And then not even a few months later, I converted to Islam. And then in April 2013, we got married.
It's his compassion. Definitely his compassion. The way his high level of respect towards the elderly, and the way he treats his patients. You know, you can see it. You can see him through.
The most important thing for me was the way she carried herself out, the way she had took that extra time to help the sick and the needy. So when I eventually got to meet her, on the first date, we already had so much in common. Charity, taking care of the sick and the needy and the poor, family is so important. And I said, you know what, the most important thing is that we had the same thing in common.
I'm used to feeding the homeless, actually. I started when I was 5, my earliest memory. I was helping my mother. In Alustar, my mother used to feed the homeless there. So I thought there's something that I can do. It's something I understood. But still, it's not just about feeding once. It's about making it sustainable. So in order to make it sustainable, I had to sit back and think, okay, I can just go out and feed. I can do it once, twice, 3 times. But if I'm going to do it in a sustainable way, how was I going to do it? When I'm out in the park like that, I always feel that after, a week of working and going out a soup kitchen, and then after that, that's the time I feel, oh my goodness, Shukr Alhamdulillah, I still can walk. I still can enjoy all these things. They can't even, there's nothing to distinguish between one thing to the next to them. You know, what is a me moment? What is a joyful moment? Nothing. Kita adalah, you've got a week, a stressful week. At the end of the day, go out and feed them. And then after that, The walk in the park is just okay, alhamdulillah, you can see the trees are beautiful, everything is lovely. We are able to enjoy all those things, you know. Sometimes you look into their eyes, it's just vacant. There's nothing to look forward to. Tak ada apa. Today, tomorrow, what's that? It's the same.
In 2008, Munira and friends wanted to do a charity project to give back to society. Saada suggested setting up a mobile soup kitchen. In 2010, Pertiwi Soup Kitchen was launched. Saada didn't live to see her dreams realized. This documentary is dedicated to her memory.